I like to focus a bit more on the physical side because I feel that the martial aspect has been taken out of the religious discourse.
Sure.
It's almost as if, you know, to be a religious person, you have to have a big stomach and you have to be completely out of shape. And, you know, if somebody was to come and fight you, you know, you just offer them a cup of tea rather than knock their teeth out because they don't have the capacity to do that. But so these people that follow that particular type of Islam,
liberal Islam,
that type of Islam, you know, I'm just going to say, but
say it.
do we need them?
Of course not.
What are they going to do? Yeah. At the end of the day, I would rather stand with 5 lions than 1,000. Because you know, when Muslims die, they squeal like pigs. It's on camera here, but it just went straight in his face.
You couldn't help yourself.
That was it. You know what I mean? His bodyguard came, he was taken out. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. No. I won't say too much here because, you know, quite a lot of damage was done to him. You know what I mean? And the police were, you know, but it wasn't me, by the way. You know, it was the hand of fate. Yeah.
I'm saying now, leading into this conversation naturally with Maccabi Tel-Aviv coming, we're not violent people. I just want to get that out there. People might get the impression that Brother Shahid is all about anger and violence. It's not anger and violence. It's self-defense and restoring our honor.
And if you don't know how to use these, and you don't know how to use these, then what have you been doing? You need to get out of the shisha lounges and you need to get in the gym and you need to start to learn how to use these, because you can't get arrested for having fists. You can't get arrested for having legs. But if you can use them, you can defend yourself. So we ain't got nothing against the Villa fans. Yeah. However, I am a bit upset that the Villa didn't turn around and say, well, you know, in solidarity with the Palestinians, we don't want to play this team because there's a genocide taking place. Yeah. But they didn't take that stand. Going to start anything.
No, of course not.
We're there to make a silent protest. Yeah. We're not going to engage with anybody. We don't want any beef with anybody, nothing. But if they come into our face, there's going to be a police line. If they break that police line and then they come into our area, into our zone or wherever we are, then it's do what you got to do. You Muslims, yeah, and on the day, find me and the brothers, yeah, stand with us, quiet, that's right, disciplined, no swearing, no shouting, no abusive behavior, nothing, yeah. Your presence is menacing enough, that's right, yeah, and let that image go. We don't need to sing and dance and act like monkeys and jump up and down like bloody clowns or whatever. We should be disciplined and we're going to stand for what we believe in. And if you try to take it from us or if you try to attack us, we will fight back. We will fight back. We are not the aggressors. We are not the bullies. We're not gonna come. But if you come for us, you're gonna get a rude awakening.
Alhamdulillah.
But we're not gonna start anything. Times are changed. They are openly calling for the expulsion of Muslims in this country, right, for the killing of Muslims in this country. On their forums, they are saying, go around, beat them up. Yeah, attack them, make small groups. Yeah, we've all seen the screenshots of their groups and whatever. So this is the kind of discourse that they're having. What's our discourse? Yeah, our discourse, yeah, is that do you put your hands above your navel or below your navel? Yeah, or can women wear eyelashes, or do we not wear eyelashes?
We'll make it clear. So Brother Shahid will be there on Thursday the 6th. We emphasize again, you know, come with the correct intention. It's for Lillah, it's for the Deen of Islam, it's for the Ummah. And on top of that, make sure that your voice is heard, make sure you behave, listen to your elders. At the same time, Brother Shahid will be there. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Wa salatu wa salamu ala nabiyyina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa ashabihi wa man tabi'ahum bi ihsanin ila yawmiddin. Ma ba'da. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Another episode of Beyond the Surface, walillahi alhamdu wa minna. And the brothers behind the scenes, obviously, organising different guests to come. And especially in this time of extremist or right-wing activism, you know, the Gaza genocide and post-Gaza war, and now what we're experiencing with Maccabi Tel-Aviv, if that's the name of the team, I don't really follow it, coming to our city of Birmingham. It's only befitting that I host. And again, you shouldn't praise someone to the face, but I've been growing up with our, you know, stories of our brother Shahid. Allah reward him and keep him firm and safe from all evil. Allahumma ameen. So, Brother Shahid, assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.
Finally, we've got you on. How are you, Sheikh?
I'm good, alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah. So, those who are from Birmingham, you know, we don't want to, you know, go into a lengthy introduction, but those who know. What's understood don't need to be spoken about. So, as far as, you know, your podcast with Muslim Collab, which was very insightful, may Allah reward you for that, and giving us an insight as to what you were growing up with and the challenges that you were facing. But just in a summarized way, for those who haven't watched it, just tell us a bit about yourself. Us from Birmingham, we know, but it's for the viewers outside of our beautiful city.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. As-salatu was-salam ala Sayyidina Mursaleen. Amma ba'd. Well, look, obviously, I grew up in the 70s and the 80s. This was at the peak of the whole sort of far-right racism, extremism, whatever you want to call it. And that was quite a defining time. So for me as a young man, that was my wake-up call into this reality of what was going to happen and where this was going to take me. Things were very different then. The streets were different. The streets of Birmingham were different. These streets that we walk around now were completely different. It was white gangs, Nazi gangs, racist gangs, and they weren't hiding themselves. They were in plain sight.
Right.
They used to dress in a certain way. They'd have their Doc Martens, their skinheads, their red shoelaces, and they'd have their swastika tattoos. They would have on their knuckles they would have APL, which stood for Anti-Paki League.
No
Yeah,
way.
they used to tag Stafford Road, Spark Hill, Allen Rock, Washwood. They would tag the walls with their tags.
Okay.
And that was the reality of what we faced, with me as a young boy, 9, 10, 11 years old. And this was the reality. And as the old adage goes that, hard times create tough men, and then tough men create easy times, and then easy times creates weak men.
Yeah,
and it seems like we dealt with all of this far-right extremism, and the difference is that we didn't resort to demonstrations and conversations and protests and whatever. It was simply, they're coming and they're beating up our mothers, they're spitting on our parents, they're spitting on our children, they're beating us up. So we just reacted and we said, right, we got together, we a group of young lads, and we took the fight to them.
Oh, wow.
And it was basically pitch battles.
Survival of the fittest.
We fought them, they fought us. 20, 30 of them, 10, 15 of us, we were always outnumbered. And it was whatever, it just kicked off. Stafford Road was the epicenter. It used to be called the Mermaid Pub. Okay. It's now a restaurant now, because that was where everything linked up, because Stafford Road was the center. And that, from Warwick Road, Stafford Road leading in towards town.
Yes,
that was the main bus route. And that's where it always used to kick off. So whether it was the Muds, whether it was the punks, whether it was the skinheads or the rockers, wherever it was, it all landed there.
Wow.
So that was the kind of baptism of fire that I had growing up. Hence the reason why I am the way that I am. And as I've always mentioned, and I continuously talk about, is that I do tend to focus a lot on the physicality side of things. Simply because you get a lot of gurus talking about spirituality, you get a lot of gurus talking about the financial side of things. I like to focus a bit more on the physical side, because I feel that the martial aspect has been taken out of the religious discourse.
Sure.
It's almost as if, to be a religious person, you have to have a big stomach, and you have to be completely out of shape. And if somebody was to come and fight you, you just offer them a cup of tea rather than knock their teeth out. Because they don't have the capacity to do that. So so people say that you always tend to focus more on the violent side of things. I don't think it's violence.
No,
I think it's more about, in my understanding of Islam, the physical aspect, the combat aspect is part of our deen. It's in the Quran. The Sahaba did it, the Prophet ﷺ did it. And so I'm just trying to make sure that we holistically approach everything. And as I always say, I break it down into 3 aspects, which is spiritual strength, financial strength, and physical strength. As a Muslim, we need to have all 3 of these to be able to become a better person and to make this into a better world.
And comprehensive, isn't it? It's not focusing on one thing and overlooking the other. So like you were mentioning about the Prophet ﷺ and the companions, the early part of Islam, especially when the Prophet ﷺ was given the instruction to fight, that was defensive. So you can correlate that when Islam was obviously in the early stages, it was all about survival. And the only way we could survive, as much as we focus on, cleanliness of the soul, we had to be physically ready. And subhanAllah, Surah Al-Anfal, and we don't want to go into that because then it makes into a lengthy sort of seerah discussion. But now that we're post-Gaza war, now obviously it was the 80s, 70s, 80s, 90s, Gaza war has really opened up the world. And what I mean by open up the world's eyes to the reality of Zionism and how it's literally forcing Muslims to be defensive regarding how the war has centered around, 1 is injustice and 2 is oppression. But as Muslims living in the West, how can we now educate ourselves as far as your understanding is concerned so that we can be more, firm rather than having this colonized hunchback approach? Is there any advice that you can give to the preachers now, which you see on social media? Because in your days, Brother Shahid, there wasn't no social media. The only way messages were going to get around is if it's word of mouth or you're knocking on people's doors. So what do you think the solution should be as far as when we're going to get into Maccabi Tel-Aviv and Aston Villa and in our city? What do you think we should do in order to educate and then also train physically in order to meet the demands of a strong Muslim? Because the Prophet ﷺ said, a strong believer is better than a weak believer. Yeah. So what advice can you give us, Brother Shahid?
I mean, look, this is a very big question. Yeah, and it's not a sort of a single point answer to all of this. It's a comprehensive part of that. And I think in previously, as I said, those 3 points does allude to how we can deal with this situation. Because each one of those, if you break those points down, the spiritual strength, the financial strength, and the physical strength, all of these break down into subcategories, and that's where you'll get all of your answers to all of these things. The crux of all of this, if I was to sum it all up, is that if you as a Muslim can work on a way to bring all of this together and gel it all together, that will then give you the answers. But if you take each thing individually, you'll always be lost because you won't have the whole picture. Okay. Because, I'll give you a small example. When we talk, and we were talking about this before we started the podcast, that a lot of the Christian in America, the Tucker Carlsons and the Candace Owens and the Nick Fuenteses and all this sort of stuff, who are very proud to be who they are. They're very proud to be white. They're very proud to be Christians. They believe sincerely in their religion, and they are the most outspoken people against Zionism and the state of Israel. And they're calling it as it is. Yeah, to the detriment of where they believe that, and it's more than likely that they will get taken out at some point because what they're saying is just not acceptable to the status quo. Now, the question I ask is that what gives them the courage to speak like that? And then I think to myself, hold on. We as Muslims say that we are Muslims. We are on the haqq. Allah is haqq. Islam is haqq. So if we are on the truth and the true path, what is it? Why are we not able to say what they're saying openly on social media in front of the whole world, and they don't care about the consequences? So this makes me think, I know the answer to that, and I know why. And you mentioned about the scholars or the da'is or the people that are out there, why they're not able to do this. I think we all know the reason to that is because it's about intentions and what they're trying to achieve. They have mass followings. They work on social media algorithms. They have to appease certain groups. They want to be able to travel around the world, go to all the nice places. They don't want their visas cancelled. Now, people like us, we're not really going to get an opportunity to go to these kind of places because we're too outspoken. So it's a sacrifice that we have to give. They don't want to maybe give that sacrifice. I'm not trying to take a dig at anybody. People know what I'm trying to say. But if that's the path that they've chosen, then okay, fine. But for the rest of us, what we need to understand is that if we are sincere in what we believe in, and I think this. And I don't want to start bashing the religious fraternity, but I just can't avoid it because I believe that they are
part of the problem.
A massive part of the problem. Massive part of the problem.
I agree.
Because as I was saying earlier before we started this year, and that I was talking to a young guy who was here, and I said that your father and your grandfathers are enslaved and shackled to these kind of people who are pacifying us. But you, the younger generation, are not shackled to them. So now you, the younger generation, have the responsibility on your shoulders that you've got to take this deen forward. You are the warriors. You are the fighters. Spiritually, financially, and physically, you are the ones that are going to fight this fight. Yeah, not your parents and not your grandparents. And I don't mean that in a disrespectful way, but they just don't have the mental capacity. They don't understand because they've been blinkered. They've had a hood hood put on their head, and they've been told Islam is just about, you know, lovey-dovey, wishy-washy, Sufi-doofy. Oh, I shouldn't say that. You know, because the Sufis are going to get upset with me. But what I'm trying to say is that everything is all, you know, wishy-washy, and, you know, Islam is about love and peace and... Yeah, but, you know...
It has its time and its place.
But why do you always emphasize love and peace? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is Shadid al-Iqab as well. Yeah, you know, we all say that Allah is Ghafur Rahim, but why don't you say that He's Shadid al-Iqab as well? Yeah, that He's firm and He punishes. And like Allah says in the Quran, that before, if there was if a qawm needed, if people needed punishing, He would send calamities. That doesn't happen anymore now. Now He sends the mujahideen. So those days are gone. And who are the mujahids? Who are the people that are going to carry on Allah's cause? Who are the people that are going to fight against evil? Our Muslim religious fraternity don't have the courage. I'm not saying all of them, but majority of them don't have the courage to say on the minbar, this is a war between
Iman and Kufr.
Right and wrong, between good and evil, and this Zionist entity and all its supporters are the spawn of the devil. They are shaitans, and they are Satan worshippers, and they are following the plan of Satan. So we are on the other side. The Christians, like the ones I just mentioned, they are openly saying this. Why are you afraid of? We're supposed to be on the haqq. Why are we not saying? Why are we not speaking out? And as a consequence of that, what happens is that, and I give, look, the example is of when you're a and I don't mean this in an arrogant way, yeah, but you know, when you're a physical person, you know, you work out, you do MMA, you do jiu-jitsu, you do wrestling, you know, you do boxing, you're a handy person, yeah, and you know you can deal with, you know, a couple of guys, no problem. You're not intimidated. When you have that persona, your personality changes, your speech changes. When you speak, you're not afraid. So if you're sitting in a group of people, or if you're in a situation it's a bit hostile, you're not afraid to say, shut your mouth. You're not afraid to say, jog on, mate, or I'll knock your teeth out. Because you know, all right, you know, they might get one on me, but I'll get one on them as well. You have that confidence.
It comes with bumps and bruises, doesn't it?
But unfortunately, our leaders don't have that, because they've never thrown a punch in their life. When you shake hands with them, it's like shaking, their hands are soft as a baby's bum. Yeah, they've never been punched in the face. They've never got into a scrap, and they've never had that feeling of adrenaline, and you're shaking and your legs turn to lead, and you know you're panicking and you're looking around and 4 or 5 people. Your whole mindset changes. You're not being attacked with a knife or with a machete or with a gun. You don't understand. Now, because of that the more you do that, you slowly, your rijala starts to erode, and then you start to compensate that by making excuses.
You pacify the deen.
Then you pacify other people, because you don't want strong people around you because they make you look weak. You want weak people around you because then you look bigger than them. So if you surround yourself with perfume sellers, you're gonna start smelling a perfume. If you surround yourself with, you know, the butcher, the people that come, you can smell the meat. And this is why, me personally, I'm not a very sociable person. You know, I don't like really, because
you smell BS. Brother.
Not just BS, but I don't want toxicity around me. I don't want weak people. I'd rather just stay with myself and stay strong.
And can I add another one? You mentioned all the other points, but there's another thing that you probably missed, and I'm gonna say without any hesitation, fake religiosity. That's the worst.
Too much of it.
You know when you mention all of these different points, there's another one that I also add as well. You know, your snakes that are within our midst. The ones that, what's that phrase? The snake's oil salesman. What's that phrase called?
Yeah, snake. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're the religious du'at and the alim who are on social media with a massive following. They're the ones that are selling you what? Nothing but hopelessness. It's cowardice. It's pacifism. In this time, let's leave the Muslim community to one side. Look what happened recently in the West Midlands with the Sikh sisters. Right? That could be anyone. Now, what would happen if our community faced such a consequence in this, faced such a disastrous consequence of us not doing anything? Because we have to use our voice, but at the same time, if it requires it, like we're going to discuss about Maccabi Tel-Aviv coming and the rest of it, do you believe going forward that the pacifism of our religion is due to people just living in comfort? They don't want their visas revoked. They don't want to lose those 5-star, 6-star retreats. I'm sure you must have heard about these retreats as well. Go there, feel good about yourself, come back, also enjoy a nice little buffet as well. Do you know what I mean? It's all about just the comforts and the luxuries of the world. Do you think the sacrifice that you experienced in the 70s, 80s and 90s, do you reckon there's now a full circle coming back now that brothers, our generation, or my kids or your kids are thinking to themselves, you know what, we're not going to take this no more. And this is about time now that these pacifist religious scholarship need to be called out. Because that's what happened. People fear. They learned, we can't say anything. Do you reckon that we need to be brave enough to say, no, enough's enough, and we need to step up to the plate now?
Well, just to add on to that point, we saw an example of this recently with that imam from Nottingham.
Oh, no, we didn't want to mention that, but yeah. Let's do it.
But that needs to be spoken about in depth, not necessarily about having a go at him, but my question was deeper. If that was a 60, 70-year-old person, I can understand that they would have that kind of mentality and bigoted and that colonial mentality or whatever. This is a kid in his 20s. He's just come fresh out of the madrasa system in the UK.
Yeah.
He's a young lad, he's a young boy. Who indoctrinated him with this? Who radicalized him? Who put this thing in his head that Pakistanis and Kashmiris are the problem and that Indian Guji Muslims are the good people? And on social media, because that's where it all goes on.
Yeah.
You know how many people are supporting him? And even some religious people, I won't say their names, who are, running charities, and they've actually said, what did he say that was wrong? What is the problem? Now, and then there's other people saying that, he and then that makes me, and I put a couple of posts of that. What frightens me the most is the traitors amongst us. Huh? And I replied back to that person and I said, I could say a lot about the Indian Gujarati Muslims, but I'm not. All I'm going to say is that the next time the Hindu Wata comes to Leicester, your Pakistani Kashmiri brothers will land and we will deal with them, because you're still our Muslim brothers.
Of course.
We might disagree with you, we may not like what you say, but we will still stand with you and we will still defend you because you're a Muslim brother. Even though you threw us under the bus, we will never throw you under the bus.
And those prejudices are deep-rooted, Brother Shahid. Those deep-rooted prejudices that they have against the Pakistani Kashmiri community. And I'm going to be as it is, what was deep within the midst of his bowels came out. And that's the worrying thing. And let's be frank, and like I said before, if, the Muslims are one body. Yes, you'll find tribalism, nationalism and whatnot within certain, ethnicities are more stronger than other. But it won't come to the point that we will use our prejudices to appease an enemy of Islam. That's what hurt me. I made a video against it as well. That's what hurt me. Within your own community, like sometimes you could be in a WhatsApp group among students of knowledge or ulama, and they can say, the Pakistani Kashmiri Muslims are, quite thuggish and quite aggressive. We'll probably laugh it off and say, you're probably right.
And some of it's true.
And there's some partial truth in it. But when you use that, and even the verses that Tommy Robinson was quoting, it was just a train wreck, like I mentioned in my podcast. But getting back to post-Gaza war, and we laid a foundation regarding how racism and right-wing activism is on the rise, to the point that now Christian who are firm on their faith and are firm on their principles have more of a backbone than us, which is the scary thing. We have been brought up with defending the Deen of Islam. And I'm saying this collectively. We have an obligation. It's a fardul ayn upon us to defend the Deen of Islam. But as you find the clergy, and is that a right word to use, Brother Shahid? The clergy, because I'm trying to use it in a negative connotation, because these sort of populist speakers in our time are no different to the Vatican clergy. It's all about, peace, love and harmony, which again, it has its time and its place. But now that the right-wing activists now are emerging, should we say there's an awakening from their side? We've seen the London protests that happened recently, where there was 300,000 marching. We're going to take back our country. What was the chant that they were saying? It's our streets. It's our streets. How are we going to now tackle this issue? Is it done a full circle, Sheikh? What do you think?
It has gone a full circle. We are back in the 60s, the 70s and the 80s for sure. Slightly different connotations and slightly different, the way things are happening. But we are back in that situation again. Now, what do we say? That, well, this happened 30, 40 years ago. Why didn't we learn from that? And why haven't we got ourselves in a better position? Well, one of the reasons for that is because, and I've mentioned this in my other podcast as well, is that we've had our head in the sand. Because we fell for this, social, cultural liberation, and what do they call it again? What's that word? Inclusiveness and all this sort of stuff, yeah. And the Labour governments came in, and socialism and all of that, and we thought, okay, they love us, everything's fine. And all that happened was that the far right, from that time, the younger ones, they just went into the shadows. They were just plotting, planning, lasered off their tattoos, grew their hair back, put on suits, went into politics, went into business, and came back full force,
more aggressive.
Yeah. Whereas what did we do? Yeah, we opened more. We opened more chicken shops. We bought more taxi cabs. We opened up more dessert shops. Yeah, and we just carried on like nothing's happening. Yeah. Whereas what they were doing is that we're coming for you, but not now. But we've got a plan, and they internationalized their whole cause. Yeah. So for them, their ummah is one. The white ummah is one for them. American, European, Polish, British,
Caucasians.
Yep. For them, their ummah is their nation is one.
They're more united.
And they're united together. So they support each other, they back each other up here. And the gelling factor of all of this is Zionism. Yeah, wow. That has basically gelled all, because Zionism is a white supremacist project. It always has been. That's all it's ever been about. Yeah. Because the original Jews who have lived with Muslims for centuries in peace and harmony have never had a problem. That's why you find the real Jews standing with the Muslims in the protest and saying, we disagree with what they're doing. That's right. So this is even the Judaism has been hijacked by Zionism, by these white supremacists. So we are way behind, and all we have is people like me and you and some other people out there with our small group here and a group there.
The little influencers.
Trying to make but the big influencers and the people who have the millions and millions of followers, they're not talking about this. One, because they don't have the intelligence to understand what's going on. Two, because they're afraid of the consequences. And dare I say that, they've sold themselves,
that's the bottom line,
to the common denominator, that they've thought, no, I'm not doing that. Is it
the financial stability that they've had, and they're like, okay, look, if I speak up now, which is no excuse, by the way, but there's no benefit of the doubt on this, especially where true men come out when the odds are stacked against them. That's when you know when a man is principled and a man is not. So the populist, the snake oil salesman, that's the word I was looking for, the snake oil salesman, are the religious clergy, and one particular cleric, or a cleric, let's call him a cleric. I don't want to call him, from those loins from the Vatican, but in his tweets, he can't even mention the Zionist state. He can't even say Israel. Now, I watched an Arabic video of his. He was in Bahrain, and they were interviewing him, because now he's got the clout, the popularity and whatnot, where that's going to mean nothing, let's be frank. We need you now to come out publicly and speak against the Zionist state. Whether it means you sacrifice your luxury travels. He said, I use the word Almighty instead of Allah, so that I could attract. But, Brother Shahid, this sort of, technicality or weak, defeatist approach, has that yielded more negativity and created more issues for us to speak up and be...
Of course it has, because you've got these people standing up saying that we are moderate Muslims, and it's these Islamists that are the problem.
Yeah, they labeled us Islamists now.
Because we speak like this, because we talk about, Islam and, the principles of Islam and, pray 5 times a day and be a good person and do jihad and stand up for the weak and the oppressed, speak up for the Palestinians. Yeah. We are the problem. And then these people, but we're the moderate ones, so talk to us. Yeah. The other concerning issue with all of this is that what you've got is, and I don't mean this in a bad way, but these people that follow that particular type of Islam,
liberal Islam,
yeah, that type of Islam, you know, I'm just going to say, but
say it.
do we need them?
Of course not.
What are they going to do? Yeah. At the end of the day, I would rather stand with 5 lions than 1,000 sheep.
Hyenas. That's
So
better.
do we even need them? And when I think back now, when I was, you know, when I started practicing in the 90s, when I, you know, so I'm like a revert as well.
Hello.
You know, I came, you know, I was Muslim, but you know, I didn't know anything about Islam or whatever. I actually got politicized in my deen because in 1989 with the Salman Rushdie affair.
Oh, yes.
When he wrote that book, and there was a big, you know, demonstrations, and I was actually on that demonstration in London. We went from Birmingham, went to London, and I was one of the guys that got arrested because he kicked off with the police. And then quite a few things happened, and that was my political awakening towards, you know, Islam. Before that, I didn't even know really much. I didn't used to pray. I didn't know much about Islam. And then after that, I started to think about Islam, and it sort of pushed me to understand and to learn and to start to practice more. But when I started practicing, one of the first things that I did in the early 90s was I started going back with guys who were like me, back to my old hanging out places, the cafes and the pool clubs where we used to hang around. Yeah. So I went back there. Now, because they all knew me, I had a level of respect. Yeah. So I would walk in there, and you know, as soon as we'd walk in, because you know we all had big beards and we were wearing shalwar kameez, and you know, typical, we were proper on it, you know, and. They would turn the jukebox off, yeah. They would start playing pool, and they would stand still because they say, "Oh, you know, Maulana Sahab's here, you know what I mean? Yeah, the Shahid's here, you know." And then we start giving them dawah and talking about Islam and this and that. I remember once on Alam Rock Road there was a cafe there, and we were talking to the guys in there, and then it was time for Dhuhr, and there was the Crown, I think it's called the Crown Pub or whatever, was across the road. They had a car park. I said, "Come on, everybody, it's time to pray." Everybody in the car park, and we done Jumaat in the car park, yeah, and got all these crackheads out, you know, coming. Half the pub didn't even have wudu, but they were just too scared to say no because they know the Shahid's going to slap us. You know what I mean? Yeah. So let's just go and pray.
That's true.
But what I'm saying is that to me is that when I look at that, and then people say to me, because over the decades I've been doing a lot of work with young people, and you know, up and down the country, I've gone around the world. I've done a lot of projects in Sweden, you know, with youth anti-drugs and anti-youth violence and all that, and gangs and all that stuff. So I've always focused on the hard to reach ones, you know, the proper psycho type ones, in the red zone, the one that you can't really talk to.
The rebellious ones.
Yeah, I like to talk to them. And people say to me, why do you waste your time with them? They ain't going to listen. And I say to them, you know that I was that person once. Yeah. I was that crazy psycho, know-it-all, fighting, smashing, don't give a toss about anybody. I was that kid. Yeah. Nobody could control me. Yeah. Even my parents couldn't control me. You know, not that I was, you know, disrespectful to them, but they tried to keep me under a, you know, leash, but they couldn't. Because every day I'm getting into fights. Every day the police are coming to my house. Every other day my dad's bailing me out of the police station. So it was, I drove them crazy. But then they say, well, why don't you work on, you know, the other ones? They're more receptive. And you know, one of the reasons what I always think in my mind, you know, and you know, it's not a 100% correct analysis, but I look at myself. And I looked at, I was that crazy, fighting, you know, kind of person who just didn't bow down to anybody. But I brought that into my deen, and that was the reason why I went to Bosnia, and that's why I went to Afghanistan. That's why I fought with the Mujahideen, because it was already in me. I wasn't a pacifist in my Jahiliyyah, and I'm not going to be a pacifist in the deen. And then when you look at people like Umar ibn Khattab, who were Shadid when they were non-Muslim, and they brought the same thing into the deen. Yeah. So then I think to myself, maybe it's this, you know, these crazy yabbo fighting bonkers kids here. Maybe tomorrow they're going to be the protectors and the defenders of Islam, not these guys who are following the people that you're talking, who are. And I've met those sort of people. I've met them. I'll tell you a story.
The religious snobbery, those ones.
Yeah. This is going back some years ago now. Yeah, this is probably going back, back into the 90s. I went to through with a friend of mine. He got invited to Oxford University, and it was like a symposium, and they had a Serb, a Croat, and a Muslim, and they were talking about the whole, what happened in Bosnia and and
Was
all
this
that.
fresh after the...
This is after. So I've already been over a few times now. So I'm sitting in the audience, and there's this Serb, and he was really big, and he had a bodyguard, he was about 6'5", and his bodyguard was bigger than him. And they're talking and this and that. Yeah. And anyway, after they all finish, so you know how everybody comes around. So all the people are around there, and they're asking him questions, and this is organized by the Islamic Society of that particular college. Mm-hmm. The Serb guy starts talking, and he pulls out a fag, because in those days you could smoke it. He pulls out a fag, he's smoking like this, and he's saying, in my country, Muslim people, they just do all the cleaning up in the house and the menial small jobs and like this, like belittling the Muslims. Yeah. And these studenty Muslims, those people, they don't, oh right, okay, yes. Abdul, do you want to make a note of that so we could discuss that in our next symposium?
No one challenged him.
No, and I'm listening to this, and my blood's starting to boil. Yeah. Then he said something which just tipped me over the edge. He goes, somehow, I don't know why he said it, but somebody said something, and then he goes, yeah. He goes, when Muslims die, they squeal like pigs. When he said that to me,
referring to...
Yeah, into Bosnia. He goes, the Muslims, when they die, they squeal like pigs.
Hold on.
I pushed past the people. I went to his face. I goes, how do you know that the Muslims squeal like pigs? Have you been killing Muslims? And he looked at me and his face dropped. No, like this,
defensive.
Bro, it's on camera here, but it just went straight in his face.
You couldn't help yourself.
That was it. You know what I mean? His bodyguard came. He was taken out. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. No. I won't say too much here because, quite a lot of damage was done to him. You know what I mean? And the police were, but it wasn't me, by the way. It was the hand of fate. Yeah. But
self-defense.
But what that put into my head? What the hell kind of Muslims are you? This man is belittling Muslims. He's making fun of the dead Muslims, and you are talking about an academic discourse.
You got a challenge.
Where's your manhood?
Where's your ghira?
Yeah. What are you afraid of? What's going to happen? Yeah, you go to jail or you go to the police station. You get out on bail. You get a smack on the wrist. So what? But at least you stood up for your deen. You stood up for your Muslim brothers and sisters. Yeah. This is what we're dealing with, and these people that you're talking about, this is what they're creating. And I'm not afraid of Tommy and the boys. I'm not afraid of the Zionists. I'm not afraid of Maccabi coming to Birmingham. I'm afraid of these Muslims because they are amongst us, and they will be the ones that will open the back door and let them in, and we'll get stabbed in the back.
They would also put us in harm's way. They won't hesitate. That's why I've
because they actually believe that we're wrong and they're right.
And where the proof's in the pudding. It's not just mere conspiracy or speculation. That Imam from Gujarati is the reason why I'm saying this.
Yeah.
Because he literally, if he had it his way, our community will be the ones that will be potentially in harm's way, legally or even physically. Let's call it as it is. If their lot was the ones that were in power or had the authority, which they technically on the algorithm side of it, from the YouTube views and the subscribers, they do have the upper hand. But the problem is the truth isn't decided by numbers, and it's not decided by views. Someone like me or you can have this podcast. Let's be honest, Shah. We're not overlooking it. This podcast won't get as much views as someone sitting in his room discussing some trivial, Islamic Muslim. Those going on retreats will talk about the early period. This is what I want to touch on before touching on the so-called political Islam that they try to, use against us. The early part of Islam, when the Prophet ﷺ was giving his da'wah, there was a clear instruction from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to give da'wah to his close and near ones secretly. Thereafter, the ayat came down to warn his people, and that came with challenges, it came with persecution. But what these so-called snake oil salesmen of our times who dress in the garb of religiosity, they're trying to push us back to that time, whilst knowing that the only success, and look, the Prophet ﷺ said, clear hadith, that a man came to the Prophet ﷺ and said, O Messenger of Allah, what do you say about a man that comes to take my possessions? And the Prophet ﷺ said, don't give him. Then the Prophet ﷺ was asked by the same individual, Ara'ayta an qatalani, what if he fights me? And the Prophet ﷺ said, well, qatiluhu, fight him back. And then he said, but what if he kills me? And the Prophet ﷺ said, فَأَنْتَ shahidun, you are from the shaheed. And then when the man responded back, he goes, what if I kill him? And then the Prophet ﷺ said, فَهُوَ فِي النَّارِ. I'm saying now, leading into this conversation naturally with Maccabi Tel-Aviv coming, we're not violent people. I just want to get that out there. People might get the impression that Brother Shahid is all about anger and violence. It's not anger and violence, it's self-defense and restoring our honor. Because ultimately, what's going to happen, Brother Shahid, now that Tel Aviv, Maccabi, or whatever they're called, are going to come next week, the fans are not coming, from what I've been told. Is that correct? The fans have been warned not to come. And the hypocrisy of when they were Warsaw fans, they banned them from coming, but all of a sudden they try to plant the card. Mayor, what's his name? Is it Ayub Khan? Is that the mayor that's from Aston?
The MP, yeah.
MP.
Khan,
He's done a tremendous job by standing his ground. That's what we need. His voice alone is more powerful and more honourable than these so-called religious clerics that don the religious garments. Let's be frank. Because he took a stand. As the Prophet ﷺ says, as per the famous hadith, that whoever sees a wrong should change it with his hand. فَإِن لَمْ يَسْتَطِعْ فَبِلِسَانِهِ. We have certain parameters. As Muslims, let's be frank, we're not violent people. We don't call for violence. But we would defend ourselves, Sheikh.
Yeah, we're not passive.
We're not pacifists.
We don't turn the other cheek.
No, we're not. If anyone comes to attack me or attack you or attack my community, I will be at the forefront to do what's possible to repel that. And that's my religious injunction. That's not something from a secular, mindset or a liberal mindset. That is from my deen, first and foremost. So, Aston, Thursday the 6th, is it? Is that the day? Is that the 6th of November. The fans are not coming. Why should we go to voice our right or voice our concerns regarding the genocide that happened in Gaza, where these football team are going to obviously be engaging in a little light-hearted competition? Why is it important for us to go there and unite and raise our voices in support of our Palestinian brothers and sisters?
What we need to understand is that even though the fans are not coming, because they've said that they're not going to sell any tickets, and because they were banned in Israel, because they actually started fighting each other at a match.
Derby,
that's how violent they are. So apparently, according to the British government's definition, who's saying that the politicians were saying that we were being anti-Semitic by banning them. So then Israel is also anti-Semitic as well, because they banned them as well.
Principally, yeah.
So we're just following what Israel did. Yeah, they banned them. We want them banned as well.
Yeah.
Now, even though they're not coming, the point is that really this match shouldn't even be taking place, because those players are IDF soldiers. They are baby killers, because every single Israeli has to has to do some time in the army. So technically speaking, they're all military people, and they've had some part in that genocide. It
may not be even physically. It could be intelligent.
Yeah, they could be just like, even if they're cooking the dinner, the food for the soldiers or whatever, but they're directly and indirectly involved in that, Now, as the ICC definition, that this is a genocide, and Netanyahu is a war criminal wanted by the ICJ, So, technically speaking, this match shouldn't even be taking place.
Like they did with Russia. Why? Look at the double standards.
Exactly, We can go into the, into the semantics of all of this. Now, why should we turn up? And I'm saying this, to everybody that's watching and listening to this, Every single one of you Muslims from Birmingham, young and old, up and down the country need to come on the 6th to Birmingham, to the Villa ground, and need to show your support. Because what's going to happen here is that the whole world's media is going to be there.
Of course.
And those images are going to go all around the world. And the images where I want them to go, that is more important to me, is to the Palestinians.
Of course.
I want the Palestinians to see the clips on their TikToks in Palestine, in Gaza, of Birmingham Muslims, me, you, and all the other people that are watching, standing there in solidarity, and them to see that we have not forgotten you.
Of course.
And it's not going to happen. They're not going to come. But even if they had come, it would have been a whole different ball game. Because I'm telling you now,
because they're violent thugs.
And this is Birmingham. And
it's not Amsterdam.
And I don't. I was just going to say, we're not Indian Gujarati Muslims. Yeah, no, take that part out, bro. I don't want.
Why?
Yeah,
why?
I don't want to cause any fitna.
No. We're violent thugs. Remember, they're the peaceful. Gujarati Deobandis are very peaceful. Why take that out?
Well, I'm not anyway. You know what I mean? Yeah, I'm not.
We are peaceful.
No, I'm not a thug. But at the same time, if somebody, if I don't turn the other cheek either, and Islam doesn't teach me to turn the other cheek as well. Like
you believe in an eye for an eye.
Malcolm X, his famous words, and I used to even have a T-shirt with those words on there. Yeah, he said, if you put your hand on my shoulder, yeah, he goes, I'll put you in the cemetery. Or something to that effect. Yeah. And he, it was like there's no turning the other cheek. Yeah, you slap me, I'll punch you. Yeah, you punch me. And I'll do 10% or 20% more than what you do. I'm not gonna just keep it whatever. But the point is that we
have to ask these pacifist Muslims to go read Surah Al-Ma'idah about the eye for the eye and the tooth.
Well, and this is what surprises me. But and also another message I want to give I want to give a message to the younger generation who are going to be there as well.
Please.
Is that some advice? First of all, do not bring any weapons to this protest. No knives. No guns, no machetes, nothing.
And you don't even need to balaclava.
You don't need to hide your face.
Yeah, why?
You don't, unless you've got a bit of a sensitive job or whatever, and you're worried about the repercussions or whatever. Because we have to take that into consideration. So I get that. You know what I mean?
The doctor Rahma, who's
exactly. You know what I mean? Yeah. So that
you have to be wise.
So no weapons. Nothing at all. Now, if some of you are feeling a little bit, what if something happens here? Well, what you got these for? And if you don't know how to use these, and you don't know how to use these, then what have you been doing? You need to get out of the shisha lounges, and you need to get in the gym, and you need to start to learn how to use these, because you can't get arrested for having fists. You can't get arrested for having legs. But if you can use them, you can defend yourself. So that's the first thing, no weapons. Secondly, the police are not your enemy. Remember this, the police are not your enemy. Don't be giving it the big one to the coppers. Don't be trying to, act all hard and whatever. They've got a job to do. Let them do their job. Leave them alone. They're not the enemy. They're just trying to keep the peace, yeah. For them, they're going to get paid and they're going to go home, yeah. So don't take it out on them.
That's their duty, basically.
Yeah. Secondly, when the Villa fans come, first and foremost, we ain't got nothing against the Villa fans, yeah. However, I am a bit upset that the Villa didn't turn around and say, well, in solidarity with the Palestinians, we don't want to play this team because there's a genocide taking place. Yeah. But they didn't take that stand. Yeah. Now, at the same time, I'm not naive. And we saw that it happened with the Blues fans as well. That they, when the match was on, they were pulling down the Palestinian flag. I've seen the videos of it. You know what I mean? And they were, saying, "F your Palestine" and all of that. That was the Blues fans.
The Blues fans.
Not all of them, but some of them.
Okay.
And even amongst the Villa fans, there are going to be people that support Tommy Robinson.
Naturally.
Now, hopefully, there won't be any confrontation with them. We're not going to start anything.
No, of course not.
We're there to make a silent protest. Yeah, we're not going to engage with anybody. We don't want any beef with anybody. Nothing. But if they come into our face, there's going to be a police line. If they break that police line and then they come into our area, into our zone or wherever we are, then it's do what you got to do. And even then, I want to give you, especially you youngsters, some advice. When you're in the demonstration, everybody that's there, turn around, give salams to everybody around you. Yeah, don't be going around giving it the big one or whatever. Yeah, we're all the same. We're Muslim brothers. Yeah, the person to your left and the person to your right, give him salam. Say, what's your name, brother? Where are you from? Inshallah, develop that brotherhood, that Muslim brotherhood. Secondly, if you go into groups and stay in your groups, right. Yeah, because if God forbid something happens and it kicks off, stay together, watch each other's back. Yeah, stay together. Yeah, protect each other, defend each other. Don't leave your brother on his own, and don't be stupid and just run off on your own, being a hero, and then you're going to get battered. Yeah, so just stay in your groups, stay together, stay organized, stay disciplined, stay calm, and don't. I'm saying don't even be doing. There are going to be other groups there. Yeah, other, groups that are going to be from different organizations. They might have, drums and singing and shouting. Let them do that. Yeah. You Muslims, yeah, and on the day, find me and the brothers, yeah, stand with us, quiet, that's right. Disciplined, no swearing, no shouting, no abusive behavior, nothing. Yeah. your presence is menacing enough.
That's right.
Yeah, and let that image go. We don't need to sing and dance and act like monkeys and jump up and down like bloody clowns or whatever. We should be disciplined. Yeah, it reminds me of that scene from Malcolm X when one of the guys gets arrested, and Malcolm X, Hajji Shabazz, he goes into the police station and he goes, release our brother, and they go, no. And then he tells the chief captain, he goes, look outside the window. And he looked outside the window, and there was about 100 of the brothers, yeah,
organized,
standing in a straight line, yeah, not a word, yeah. And he went like this, and they all stood to attention. And then he put his hand down, and then they relaxed, all in a straight line. And the chief saw that, and he thought, oh, okay.
Yeah.
You know, this is, you know that verse from the Quran, Bunyanun Marsus,
yeah.
You know, like a firm wall.
Firm wall, yeah.
Yeah. This is how we should be on that day, like a firm wall. No clowning around, no jumping around. Civilized, calm, respectful, dignified, yeah,
honorable.
Muslim, honorable men just standing there, just waiting to see what happens.
And I want to add as well, and I'll also look to the camera, Brother Shahid, if you don't mind me adding, is that don't make this an opportunity to just use it to, you know, put it on your TikTok and your Instagram. Make sure your intention is safi, like your intention is clean.
Yeah.
Don't be there thinking, oh, you know what, it's a perfect opportunity just to show, look, I'm here at the protest, and we don't want that. We want, yes, reminders. We'll be issuing reminders, highlighting the plight of our Palestinians, going over what happened the past 2 years, highlighting the crimes of the Israeli Zionist regime. We would do that, but don't make this into like a carnival.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
with your phones out and you know what, TikTok and you know Instagram. Please, you know, there'll be brothers there. We'll be issuing reminders. Listen attentively. You know, takbirs are not a problem. Raise your takbir, irfa takbir. You know what I mean? It's not a big deal at all. But at the same time, just make sure that you respect your elders that are there, the ones that are going to be speaking. Listen attentively, and at the same time, do not misbehave. Don't bring your weapons, as Brother Shahid said, and reiterating the point that we need to be a strong, qawi, mateen. We need to be there, firm, and don't fear the blame of the blamers.
I mean, that's a very valid point as well, is to purify your intentions. Go there for the right reasons. So God forbid anything happens, at least you know you were there for the right reasons. I told my family, I said, I'm gonna be going. And I also told my solicitor as well that I might need to call you if I get arrested.
Can I have his number as well?
Yeah, you know, Hussein's solicitors, Asad Khan. Yeah, big up Asad Khan. Yeah,
make sure you got my back. Yeah,
top man he is. He actually texted me the other day. He goes late at night, and he goes, brother, I've heard a rumor that you've been arrested. Are you okay? I go, nah, bro, I'm all right. Not yet, anyway. Yeah, but just hold that thought. You know, you never know.
Just make sure your diary is free on Thursday, the 6th of November.
But its intention is important because anything can happen. Yeah, and you know, I don't want to sound dramatic, but you know, you could die. Anything could happen, you know. So go with the right intention. You're going there for the sake of Allah, to stand up for the weak and the oppressed, to show your solidarity to the Palestinians, to show these haters of Islam, these far right extremists, these Zionists, these Islamophobes, that we are not who you think you are. We are not that generation that will turn the other cheek. We are a different generation. We are a generation that are going to stand, and we're going to stand for what we believe in. And if you try to take it from us, or if you try to attack us, we will fight back. We will fight back. We are not the aggressors. We are not the bullies. We're not gonna come. But if you come for us, you're going to get a rude awakening.
Alhamdulillah.
But we're not gonna start anything.
And just to add as well, let's just bring it into the more sort of secular dynamics. That's our human right? To defend
self-defense.
ourselves. Yeah.
I checked it with my solicitor, and he said, because I was a bit unsure, he said, Shahid, if somebody comes into your face,
your domain,
comes into your personal space, and you warn them, look, just get out of my space. If they insist on coming in your space, and if you feel threatened, this is the definition of, if you feel threatened, you are allowed to do a preemptive strike.
Necessary force. Is that what the word is?
A preemptive strike. Because I thought that you have to wait for the other person to hit you.
That's what I thought as well.
He said no. He said that if you feel threatened, yeah, and only you know if you're feeling threatened, that's going to be your case in court. I felt threatened. You can do a preemptive strike. So if they're coming and you feel like this guy's going to hit me, or he's going to stab me, or he's going to harm me, you can crack him.
Body language will show it all, wouldn't he? Like, you know, they're coming for you.
But if someone's in your face,
yeah, you know,
someone's right in your face,
it's inevitable, isn't it?
You know, you're going to become fearful. Well, hold on, what's this guy? He could have a knife, he could have a weapon or whatever. So that's where your self-defense comes in. Yeah. You know, so keep yourselves, you know, mentally alert. Yeah. And if you do get into that confrontation, keep your hands up. Speak with your hands, because having your hands here is better than having your hands down here. Keep your hands here, because you can react quicker when your hands are up here. Don't be like putting your hands in your pocket and saying, yo, and don't act like an idiot. Yeah, protect yourselves.
Alhamdulillah. So, moving on, and obviously bringing it to a close, Allah Barik Feek, Brother Shahid, for coming and, you know, reminding us of what happened in the past. And I think we need to reflect as well. We need to reminisce that these times are troubling times. And it's only going to bring real men when we're, like you said before, the strong men are brought out or they come forth in difficult times. And needless to say, and this isn't scaremongering, but we are living in difficult times, Brother Shahid. And ultimately, the propaganda against Islam and Muslim social media is changing the hearts. If those who are behind the closets, as they say, who are, like you said, they had their tattoos, now they're coming out in suits, reform, it's gaining momentum. UKIP, you name it. It's that time that we thought won't ever happen, that the far right will be more brazen with their racism and their bigotry, is happening now. So, like you said, train. Even like my age, I'm 40, and Brother Shahid's obviously older than me. We still have to look after ourselves. We still have to be prepared, because, like I just mentioned about what happened with those 2 Sikh sisters. Look what happened.
Well, it's not just that, and that's disgraceful what's happened there, because regardless of whether they were Sikhs, Pakistanis, even if they were English, and even if they were white, it's disgraceful and disgusting, and we condemn it, you know. But the thing is that what we have to understand is that the far right extremists, people like UKIP and all these other people, and the Tommy's boys, and they are openly calling for the killing of Muslims. They're not even holding back anymore. They are not holding back. Go onto their forums. Even in that march that they had in London, they were openly calling for the extermination of Muslims.
They were.
They may have used some different words, but that's what they were calling for. So
Elon Musk was calling for it.
Exactly. So what I'm saying is that, how long are you going to keep your head in the sand? How long are the Muslims going to be trying to say, no, it's not as bad as people think it is? Look, I don't want to be scaremongering. I don't want to be like saying, oh my God, it's the end of the world, and, you know, that's it now, it's all over. The point is that we need to understand that what is going on. We need to have that. We need to have that understanding that times are changed. They are openly calling for the expulsion of Muslims in this country, for the killing of Muslims in this country. On their forums, they are saying, go around, beat them up. Attack them, make small groups. We've all seen the screenshots of their groups and whatever. So this is the kind of discourse that they're having. What's our discourse? Our discourse is that, do you put your hands above your navel or below your navel? Or can women wear eyelashes, or do we not wear eyelashes?
Or do we say Ameen out loud? Or
and now the whole rage on social media is that attacking the Dawah bros because they attacked some sister who talked about this, and everybody's going bonkers. And I'm watching all of this, and I'm thinking, Palestinians are being butchered and blown into pieces. And you people are beefing boys and girls over, he said this and he's that and he's that and that. Is that the level? But that's the level that we've been brought to. And it's very, very important that there are opposite voices to this.
Of course.
And I believe that
it may not be the most popular, it may not be the most strongest voice, but rest assured, a spark needs to be made.
It's not, and everybody who knows me, I'm not popular. And I don't want to be popular. I don't care, because I'm not doing this for a following. I don't need a following. I don't care if nobody.
Quantity over quality.
All I'm concerned with is that I have to answer on the Day of Judgment to Allah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave me certain attributes, gave me certain, influence. Influence or position. He's going to ask me what I did with it. So that's the only thing that I'm worried about. I don't really care if everybody hates me, everybody calls me, oh, this guy is just talking about violence and is this and is extremist. Jog on, mate. Say whatever you like. You're not the first person. You're not the last person. I've been hearing this for decades. I've always been hearing this. But at the same time, I know, because I meet them every single day, whether I'm in the gym, when I'm walking down the street, when I'm, on social media. So many people, especially young men, young. When I say, to me, everybody's young because I'm 60 plus, so everybody's young to me. But they, bro, alhamdulillah, what you said, it resonated with me. I started going to the gym, I've started going to the masjid, I've been researching a bit more about Islam.
Respecting my elders.
I spoke to my mom and I changed my approach and this and that, because I really emphasize about respecting your parents and respecting your mother. So for who it needs to affect, it gets to them. The haters are going to hate.
And your rewards with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
That's it.
That's
so
the most important.
The thing is, let them hate. And people out there who listen to this is not my job only, and it's not your job only. It's your job as well. All of you people that are listening to this podcast, you all have a responsibility to go out into your communities, into your families, and you need to help and support, and you need to bring this awareness. And that response is not only on us, because we're doing what we can, but you got to do it. And especially the younger generation. Everything is about the next generation.
Always.
Everything is about them. They are the
standard bearers.
The standard bearers. You're going to carry Islam on your shoulders. The elder generation, like me and the other brothers and everybody else, we're with you. But that's why the Prophet ﷺ always used to say, Shabab, 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 because he knew the Shabab are the backbone of the Ummah. Right. But we're with you as well. We're not backing off. We'll stand with you shoulder to shoulder. But we do get a bit tired as you get older. But you young people, you got a lot of energy, you got a lot of testosterone, and you're always buzzing, And we love that, We
need that.
We need that. It invigorates us as well.
Alhamdulillah. And it reminds me, just adding on to your point about the shabab and, the youth, the tafsir of the verse where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talks about the followers of Musa, that there were only a few. And the Mufassirin, the commentators of the Quran, said that only the few were the youth. So, so as as you get older, and I'm not saying, Sheikh, Allah increase your age and life, is that when you start getting older, you get stuck in your ways a bit, don't you? But the ones that you could influence, because Shabab are more open, they understand, they can sort of, kind of like you could soften their heart a bit. But the older you get, you lose, your patience wears thin and whatnot. So to the youth, and as I said, I'm 40 years old, and Shaykhana is obviously, been around for a while and, giving us the pearls of wisdom. And as I said, it's not about following, it's not about views, it's not about algorithm, it's about influence. And we have a little influence, and we want to spark the next generation. And whatever khair we can do, that one, man dalla ala khair kafa'ili, the one that initiates good is like the one that does it. And it's per the hadith, man sanna fi Islami sunnat al-hasana. So I just want to reiterate, and I'm going to give our brother Shahid the last point to make. Thursday, the 6th of November, it's a call and it's a plea that we stand with our brothers and sisters in Palestine. As part of my work, and as I explained to you off camera, I've been speaking to a lot of Palestinians who have come to the UK, and let's just say that they do see the activism. And again, the activism under the lens of the Sharia. Let's just get that out there. We have to make it clear. So Brother Shahid will be there on Thursday the 6th. We emphasize again, come with the correct intention. It's for Lillah, it's for the Deen of Islam, it's for the Ummah. And on top of that, make sure that your voice is heard, make sure you behave, listen to your elders. And at the same time, Brother Shahid will be there if you want to obviously speak to him, and if you want some advice, he'll be more than willing to speak to you. So Brother Shahid, last message, may Allah reward you for giving us your time. I know it's a bit late, but may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless you and keep you safe at all times, and make you a means of many rectification amongst the Shabab with your influence and your zeal and passion for the Deen of Islam. So final message from you, Brother Shahid, so we can close this podcast.
I mean, I think we've covered everything that really we could say about this. The only thing I will say is that if I was to put it into a nutshell, those 3 points I think are very important: spiritual strength, physical strength, and financial strength, and combining all that together. But then understanding what is spiritual strength. It's not just going through the rituals, praying 5 times a day and doing that. It's deeper than that. It's knowledge, it's understanding, it's standing up for the truth, speaking the truth
with the ummah as well.
Justice, all of this is part of spiritual strength, and that will come when you are a spiritual person. And to be spiritual, you have to develop your connection with Allah through your salah, through your tahajjud, through your sunnah prayers, through your du'as, by doing your adhkar, by associating with strong people around you, keeping away from toxic, negative people. So this is what I think is very important, that, focus on these three things. This is where the strength lies. And inshallah, I'll see you all on the 6th. If you see me, come up to me. I know sometimes I have a frown on my face, but I'm a nice guy. You come up to me, give me salams. I'm more than happy to talk to you. That
smile will come out, inshallah ta'ala, when he sees the brothers in unison showing their support for the ummah. So once again, Brother Shahid, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala keep you safe, and inshallah I'll see you on Thursday the 6th as well. So once again, like, share and subscribe. It's not about the views. At the end of the day, we want the message to reach, but we seek Allah's pleasure. That's first and foremost. We're not algorithm prostitutes. At the end of the day, we do this for the betterment of the ummah. And as the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, and this hadith has some kalam on it, as some ulama that says, "Man lam yahtam bi amri muslimin falaysa minhum." Whoever does not care about the affairs of the believers is not from them. So I'll end on that note. See you on Thursday the 6th. Well behaved, well dressed. Put your attar on. And inshallah ta'ala we'll unite and we'll congregate and we'll raise our voices for the Palestinian causes as well as the causes for the ummah, generally speaking. Wa sallallahu ala nabiyyina Muhammad.